Hi guys, this is Ed with another JCC video, and we're going to be looking at bird boxes today. Now when I think about bird boxes, the type of thing that pops into my head is the one that you see up here on the tree. Kind of classic bird box really, sort of thing set up for blue tits, that sort of thing. But there are loads and loads of different types of bird boxes, and so what I wanted to show you today was a whole different range to give you some ideas of the types of things that maybe you could be putting up in your garden or on the outside of your house that can attract lots and lots of different species. Okay, so birds come in all different shapes and sizes, and I just wanted to show you this one here because it's probably about the biggest bird box that there is. This is for a barn owl. And it's not going to be going up in my garden, but I'm going to be popping it up at school in a couple of weeks' time. Maybe you're lucky enough to have somewhere big enough to be able to house something like that, or a tree that could go in. But just to show you, it's got a really tall box here because they make quite a big nest. You've got the bigger hole for them to go in and out, and you've even got this cool little balcony feature that allows the chicks when they're fledging to get in and out, and also for the adult birds it makes it a little bit easier as well. But there you go. Although we don't see those barn owls about, there are other types of birds, bigger ones, smaller ones, that we're not necessarily seeing. So we're going to go inside now and we're going to have a look at a bunch of different options, and then that should give you some ideas for what you could be doing in your home. I know I showed you this kind of nest box outside, but when you're thinking about nest boxes, they've got two basic shapes. This one here, classic one with the round hole, although the one that I've got is probably suitable for blue tits, you get different ones in different sizes and they'll work for different species. So that means that whilst it might look pretty much the same, you're going to have a different size entrance hole, which is going to be key. You're going to have, the depth from the hole down to the bottom is going to be different. That's important to make sure that predators can't reach in, that sort of thing. Some boxes actually even have a reinforced sort of metal bit here to stop it getting pecked open by something like a woodpecker. Anyway, yeah, so there's that depth. You've got how wide it is, how deep it is here, how long it is. So all those kind of things mean that you've got one box that looks like very similar, could be used for lots of different species. So for example, you've got the blue tits, the coal tits, great tits, sparrows, starlings, jackdaws. So obviously a jackdaw is way bigger than the blue tits. But where you're going to find that is if you go and look online, I recommend checking out the RSPB website, and you'll find dimensions of how to make different nests and make sure that they're suitable. One final thing while we look at this is avoid getting nest boxes which have a little stick sort of there, kind of like a perch, because that's actually not necessary for the birds. It just helps predators get in. So this is another round one, but this is actually a communal sparrow box. So certain sparrows really like to nest communally, so there's another good idea for you. So this is the other type of sort of standard bird box with the open front. So you can see that you've got this big open bit right there. And just like the ones with the round hole, again, this can be used for different species, but what's going to change is the dimensions. So, how high this bit is here, how wide it is, how sort of deep it is, all that kind of stuff. And again, like I say, you need to check out those dimensions, how big the opening needs to be. And you can find that, again, look online, you'll find it on the RSPB website, you might find it in some other places as well. But there we go. This one's particularly cool. It's gone in my garden, and I'll show you why. It's because I took the photo that you saw before was taken about 2 weeks ago, and now it's actually got a robin nesting in it, which is pretty sweet. This is just an example of a wren box. So it's made to different dimensions, but like you can see there, it's a very similar design. I know the roof is a bit different, but that's just aesthetic really. It's just that this has been made to different dimensions to suit a wren. Now we get on to the sort of funkier shaped bird boxes, the ones that look a bit different. So this is an example of house martin boxes here. You see they've got the little cup and that little sort of gap, so they kind of squeeze in and out and go through there. This is actually on my house. I've popped it up and I've actually added this extra cover there because it wasn't enough cover from our eaves, but you can put them under eaves, but they're not left open to the elements. This box is swallow nest, which is similar, but as you can see, it hasn't got that same little dip that you get on the house martin one, and but this really needs to be properly undercover, not like the one that you saw before that was just under a little shelf. This will be the kind of thing, you know, they'd usually nest in barns, but maybe under a porch or somewhere like that that's really well out of the covering. Then we get on to some bigger boxes here. You've got for the tawny owls, and you've got sort of two types. I showed you the barn owl earlier, but this one is the sort of tube like that will go and hang under branches, and then you've got the upright ones which then have a sort of a roof on them. And again, you can find out, you look on like Barn Owl Trust website, they've got lots of stuff. You can buy these as well, and they come in different dimensions, so make sure that you get those right, or just pick up some that are suitable for it. Then we'll look at the Swift boxes. So particularly popular, interestingly, you get them in different styles. You've got these external one over here, as you can see, that you can buy off the RSPB website. Again, you can make those, so that's on the outside of the house. But kind of, if you're able to, and you're doing a building project, then getting one that is kind of like this one here, where it's literally built in, so you kind of get slotted into the brickwork and it's much more discreet, is actually preferred. And there are more than just Swift boxes that come in this style. I wish I'd known that before I'd done my extension, and I would have tried to get something in there. But yeah, so there are two types of Swift boxes, and particularly this one is quite interesting to have a think about if you didn't know that sort of thing existed. Tree creeper box here. So they usually nest behind bits of, you know, old bark and little nooks and crannies and old trees, and obviously with less of that about, then they need a specific size. So that's another type to think about. Then we've got a kestrel box. So again, you see quite open, wide, and that's what we got as well. So lots of different options. Now, good question, really. Do you build one or do you buy one? It's really going to be up to you and how you feel about it, and either works well. The key thing is, though, if you're going to buy it, try and make sure that it's suitable, that it comes from sort of reputable company, and it's fit for purpose and solidly built. If you're going to build it yourself, then make sure that you know the right dimensions. As I discussed, there are lots of bird boxes which look similar, but they need to be of the right dimensions to fit that proper species. Make sure that you're using correct wood, so not treated, something that is kind of rough wood, really, usually. And, if you're like me and you're not that great at doing stuff, you don't really want to have a bird box that's got massive gaps in the side and things like that. So just make sure that you're confident in doing it before you get a go. But it's really, really easy to do, and there are plenty of examples of how to do it out there. Then final few things. So just think really, really location is important. Because you don't want it in direct sunlight all the time, so that's why that north to southeast aspect is important, because otherwise the chicks can literally get baked inside the box. So you don't want it full on south facing. Now, different species will need the boxes put at different heights. So some will want it low to the ground, some will need a certain amount of clearance underneath. So that's something you need to check, but you can find out that information again. Check on the RSPB website. I'm sure you'll find other information online, but before you put it, because what you don't want to do is get a box suitable for a certain species and then position it in the wrong place. So then you've got that bit about whether it's clear or is it sheltered. So some things, like with the robin boxes that open, they need to be hidden back sort of behind the shelter somewhere. But say, for argument's sake, like a Swift box, they need to be able to fly in and out really easily at high speed, so they need it a bit more clear. So just look into that and check that before you waste time by putting a box in the wrong place. Just a couple of little things again. Be careful if you're putting up on trees. Try not to damage them when you can. Make sure that once the birds are in there that you don't go looking too close. Certainly don't open the box up and look inside, because that's really going to put them off. They're not going to like that. And I know that some birds, particularly if they get too much attention paid to them, they may well abandon the nest even if it's during the nesting stage. And if you happen to want to clean it out, then think about that September, October time, because during the winter it can be used for birds that are roosting, and obviously other times during the breeding season, then it's definite no to be looking inside that box. So there's some little information for you. Okay guys, well thank you very much for watching. Hopefully that's shown you some new types of boxes that you could consider putting up. Now don't worry too much about what time of year it is. Although it's great to get them up in time for the breeding season, it might take a while or even a whole season until the birds have got used to the box and start using it. So whenever it is, whatever time you're seeing this video, have a little look, check it out and get some boxes up to help out those birds. Thanks very much, and if you've got any pictures of your bird boxes, then why not pop them onto the Langdyke Facebook page, because we'd love to see them.